It's a one-on-one.
Mm.
But a one-on-one that's not as aggressive in sports where there's contact. A one-on-one that's also not as intimate, but a measured one-on-one, but valued and appreciated by myself, because not too many of us would have a one-on-one of this nature up against giants like yourself. And the only way that maybe we could rise is maybe by associating with giants. And where possible, when one-on-one is actually intimate and aggressive, we can literally stand on the shoulders of the giants. How I wish I had this maturity in my journey as I was coming along. The best time when you know that you could have been the better of who you are is when you say, only if I knew what I know. What I know now, if I had had it before, and as I came along on my path of life, career, profession, whatever it had been, with also the challenges that I had gone through, if I had the amount of a bit of wisdom that I have, I could have been something better than what I think I am. I had not developed an esteem that says to me, come out, Steve, and say it. There are moments where, for all of the kids, even a kid somewhere in Nyanga or Mhlatuza, wherever, they have this amount of light. But the light is overshadowed by maybe the environment they find themselves in. At some stage, something has to burst. But how you break into a real you, where your esteem is completely of self, is when you've consumed the fear and the complex that you find yourself in when you bring up. How we socialize, how I grew up from very humble environment, very poor kid. I wouldn't have a statement or a word to make. As a result, I had no confidence. My self-esteem was very low. Now, when you say maybe I had this with me all along, it's only now that I'm saying it. Maybe I've reached a stage and a level of anger where I'm saying, you know what, whatever it takes, let it come out. I can't die with it.
Wow.
No. If I had been given the level of confidence at a young age to be this that I am now, I'm sure I could have even gone through better struggles, which would have then made a better man and given me a better understanding of how to come across and rise above challenges. It is only through challenges, Rob, that I grew. Now, maybe the strength that I would have had based on the wisdom that I have now would have been at level 6, and my challenges would have been level 12. Then I would have upgraded to level 24. But I'm now at 12 because I had had level 6 capacity and level 12 challenges, and then I had to rise and be to the level of my challenges. Maybe the upgrade would have been even better. That you pick. I think there's two things in life. You either brave or stupid.
Right.
Anytime you take a decision that is unbelievably, in a way that people say, but wait a minute, how could you? Either you were stupid not to know how serious that would have been, or if you're not stupid, then you were very brave.
Right.
If you don't know, then it means you're naive, you're stupid, you don't know, and it's going to hurt you. But if you know, it means you're brave enough to say, you know what, by all means possible, I would go through it. Is one. I use two brains. I use two brains. The thinking brain and the brain that's monitoring the thinking brain.
Sure.
Now, when I think, as I'm talking to you now, I'm saying this, but at the back of my utterances, there's another guy monitoring what I say, so that your thought processes must be clear, Steve. And after saying your thought processes must be clear, Steve, what then is the next line to guide the conversation so that the substance? And whilst I'm thinking around what I'm saying, there has to be something that says to me, wait a minute, Steve, as you're saying this, are you not offending Robert? You are not offending Robert. But okay, Robert is excited, but what about the other person who's not a Robert? Very difficult to make utterances that are clear and not hurting anyone. There's no way. When you say something is blue, red might not be happy. Purple wouldn't be either. White would be frustrated. How dare you say blue and all the rest of the other colors are still comfortable and happy? But it is how you say the blue, that you don't raise your voice, that you upset the rest of the other colors. You say blue, so that white, red, pink, and yellow can feel the magnitude of their presence, bringing down the voice that says blue. That blue is minimal, I'm superior. Yet you recognize blue and not the other ones around.
But do you feel, though, the need that everybody needs to be pleased? Do you feel the need that you shouldn't be offended?
I want our people to think.
Yeah.
My biggest desire is to find a nation that thinks. We've gone through a stage where we got lazy. We don't want to think anymore. We have become a people that is more of dependent thinkers.
Right.
If we can generate and have a nation of independent thinkers, I'll bring relevance to what I'm saying. It would be great. Now, I'll put scenarios quickly so that we can understand what I'm talking about, because sometimes I tend to be so vague in my utterances. When kids and scholars and students started saying hashtag fees must fall, it got clear. After that, then we had our President Zuma, and then it was Zuma must fall. Then fees must fall, Zuma must fall, Steve must fall, Robert must fall. Now, at the back of the start of that wedding, fees must fall. The rest of the other dependent thinkers stopped thinking and started following that kind of the tone. Not only in terms of utterance, robe, and wedding, even in our behavior. Folks, now, observation and analysis are different. At first sight, you can see, you can sense, you can observe. Upon registry in your mind, start to be highly analytic. Our people stop immediately at the first stage of sight. And then they think that, no, the thinking is taking place. No. There's even beyond that kind of thinking, even into the second brain of your thoughts. When you've gone deeper, when you accept suffering, when you're saying, bring on suffering, because it is only out of serious suffering that you get better. You will never grow if you don't suffer. The greatest growth happens in discomfort. Those who have not grown are the ones who've always been comfortable. And those who want to grow must accept pain. And those who are still growing are going through pain. So it is just a choice you make. But beyond that, Robert, it is the level of acceptance. You just have to accept circumstances and grow. And I'm doing an interview now, Emanchi. The guy behind the camera, the guy listening at home, even yourself, what I'm saying must not be selfish that it only talks to me. It must also resonate with you. That in my utterances, you do not only understand, but you living what I'm saying. In my speech, you see yourself going through the struggle and then finding comfort to say, you know what, bring on the problems. Because it is only out of problems that I'll become better. A stack of coal under pressure becomes diamond. But if you want to remain coal, avoid pressure. You want to be a precious diamond, bring on the heat.
Great. And the heat was brought to you.
Serenity prayer. Akona lama snippets. Now, what you are saying reminds me of myself when you say, but you had always had this. What gave you the confidence to bring it out? I did not bring it out. Maybe there's more provocation now that I've been in football for quite some time. And sometimes there are other people who would want to maybe open a door and you are the key. And when they use you and then you get irritated. Now when you pinch me, I cry. And when I cry in a language that nobody understands. Because when you cry in a language that everybody understands, then they start finding a way to make you cry forever. But when you cry in a language they don't understand, it becomes mysterious and they wait, they pause, they want to understand your crying. And by the time they understand you're crying, you are done crying. You wipe your ears, you sit back and relax. And when they ask, can you cry again? You say, I don't remember how I cried. Because now I found peace in my crying. And I'm moving on. I'm happy now. I'm another human being. I'm ready to resume my precious life that God has given to me, not anybody else. Can I relate a small story for you?
Please go ahead. This is about you. You know that.
There was a story of a baboon and a snake, they say. Now, this snake wanted to cross the road. They were on the same side of the road with the baboon.
Right.
The cars are going. Whoosh, the baboon comes, the snake, and then the snake says, "Ebab, but why don't you put me on your back so that we can quickly run across? Because you have force, you have power with me, and the tar road is hot, man, we can't. So I will get bummed." The baboon says, "Ebab, you, must I trust you? Can I take you across?" The snake says, "No, man, no. Let's go, nothing wrong." Finally, to bring the story fast forward and all that, the baboon takes the snake and then they go across. Why? They manage to cross the road. No accident, no nothing. As soon as they reach the other side, the snake does what snake does better. Bites the baboon. The baboon says, "My man, how can you? We had an agreement just 2 seconds before we crossed the road that you wouldn't do this to me." You know what the snake said? "Even though my intentions were right, but it is just in my nature to bite."
Somebody seems to have riled Steve Komphela. That was it. I asked you that because I could tell what you were telling me was not what I wanted, was not what the viewer wanted, was not you telling the truth. It was you taking the sugar, taking a banana and coating it, so that it comes out clean and fresh.
When you were now on level 3.
Yeah.
Not that you had information.
I did.
Oh, you had that, but it had developed into knowledge. Beyond that knowledge, you had moved to wisdom.
Observation, too.
Yeah. You had moved. You can have all the information in the world. But if you do not know how to utilize that information, it doesn't become knowledge. Knowledge is how you apply that particular information. The application of that information to knowledge with the ability to take the right decisions, irrespective of the time, the pressure and all that, takes you to a level of wisdom. So when you have gone that. But for you to graduate from the information, knowledge and wisdom, it took you years of toil, hard work and struggle. And the struggle was not only physical, but was mental, reading someone's mind. As you say, no, you picked up one word. Not too many could pick 5, but you managed to pick one. And when people speak, I could be saying all this, but there's one word that is powerful beyond all the speech that I'm making, that will stick and stay. A specific part of how these things happen and how they come to be. Now, I can't be so paranoid about wanting to have this visible success. I call it visible success. There's visible success, there's invisible success. You will be frustrated by the noise for their lack of seeing your success because it is invisible. Anything invisible cannot be seen. Now, when people can't see the glass of water here, they'll be complaining about glass of water. But when you know that the room is set up in a way that it is moist, you are always hydrated in this, that they don't see water should not frustrate you, because when you know where the water comes. I don't speak much about my comfort in life, the comfort of those who are attached to me, and the level of accomplishment personally, it be economic, in terms of lifestyle and all that. I don't think that goes for nothing. Even those who have billions and millions, now we corona shy, your money counts for nothing. So whoever has the biggest money, whatever dollars, whatever euros, whatever, money means nothing. Because at any given time, 2 minutes ago you are a multi-millionaire, 2 minutes later you are nothing, it's gone. So I look at life like that. So to me, the most important, if people cannot understand your success in terms of how you have seen things, there's a lot of people I've gone through in life with, and they remain unbelievably pleased and happy with how we came, whether it be players and administration. Said and all that. You don't point at the visible success that everybody else wants to see. At times you look back into yourself and start laughing at the utterances, because some of them, They don't even have a clue because of their dependent thinking. They say what they hear, they say what has been said, and they're not even sure. If you can tell someone that, wait a minute, this is 2020. Do you know that in 1920 there was an epidemic? Do you know that in 1820 there was an epidemic? Do you know that in 1620 there was an epidemic? Then they will start thinking and they'll go check in 1520 if there was an epidemic. Because people just don't want to think. And thinking is so cheap. And in the modern world where information is just galore, but people just don't want to think. And what you say to them, it goes. That's why abanye baphuza poison, forgetting that you don't drink poison and live. When you drink poison, you are the one dying. Start pointing at that invisible success.
Sure.
Because when you start pointing at invisible success, there are sadists. Umuntu is sadist. Someone who never wants to see anything good. They were just wired to be bad. So they are omega nani. And most of us we have like so anginasikhathi ke mina angifuna ukubaprovoke abahlali lapha ekhoneni bafelelwa khona lapha ekhoneni. Uyazi umuntu ofe ekhoneni ebulawa into zakhe miye kafe lapho ungamvusi because mayefa lapha okay uzoba right kuzoba imanyo. Because manje mawumvuse lapha uzonenzela intuthu. Anything that rots and dies is good because it becomes manure. It makes the soil fertile. Yeah, no, it's good that they die there so that we can make they are more useful dead than alive. Raveling the Steve who's supposed to be. Sometimes we are ourselves, but not real of who we're supposed to be. Now, I haven't. Maybe I'm yet to find myself. They are helping me find myself. Above all, there's one wish that I want. I want a society that is positive, a people who are confident, and a people who are willing to live beyond the 300 years of depression that we had been exposed to. A people who are going to be conscious of the challenges that our challenges are not going to be solved over 50 years of Ghana's independence. Who we are today, we cannot become overnight success against 300 years of slavery and all these other processes that we had gone through. I want our people to be aware of that. The minute you know that we come 300 years back and to address the challenges of 300 years ago, won't take 50 years. I will do simple arithmetic in closure. In 300 years, you've got 70, 140, 210, and then 280, 280. Still have 20 years. These are 4 generations that we have to go through to go beyond the struggles that we've been put through in 300 years. I'm only 50. I have not even completed the 70 to be the first generation. And as I want to address the 300 years of slavery and oppression and all that black people had been exposed to, their confidence had been killed. Mentally, they are finished. They've got no esteem. They don't know themselves. They lost their sense of being. If you want to address the 300 years, I need to die. My kids must die. My kids must die. So you need 4 generations. And the rest of the world is not waiting, is moving forward. Our struggle is long. I want our people to understand that and work towards that. It might not be for now, but keep working forward, because if you forget where we come from 300 years, shall never move an inch forward.
In the same way, I don't want you to move an inch backwards.